Abraham Lincoln was born in Kentucky, but he grew up in southern Indiana. He was actually part of a blended family, at least that's what we call it today, meaning that his mother died when he was a young boy, and then his father remarried. And Lincoln grew up in southern Indiana with a kind of extended family of stepbrothers and sisters, and those families moved together from Indiana to Illinois. And it was a generally successful, close-knit family, although it appears, and we don't know for sure, but it appears there were tensions, powerful ones, between Lincoln and his father, whose name was Thomas. And those tensions you can see in a letter that Lincoln wrote to his stepbrother, John Johnston, in January of 1851. This is a document that Lincoln is writing in response to news that his father is probably dying. Dear brother, Abraham Lincoln writes on January 12th from Springfield. On the day before yesterday, I received a letter from Harriet. This is Harriet Chapman, part of the extended clan, written at Greenup in nearby eastern Illinois. She says she has just returned from your house and that father is very low and will hardly recover. She also says you have written me 2 letters, and although you did not expect me to come now, you wonder why that I do not write. I received both your letters, Lincoln admits, and although I have not answered them, it is not because I have forgotten them or been uninterested about them. And this is where it gets revealing. He says, but because it appeared to me I could write nothing which could do any good. 2 letters warning him that his father was very ill and that perhaps he was dying, and Lincoln doesn't respond to either. It's only after a 3rd letter from another family member that he finally responds. He says, you already know I desire that neither father or mother shall be in want of any comfort, either in health or sickness. Now, he's referring here to his father and his stepmother, Sarah Bush Johnston. I feel sure you have not failed to use my name. This is 1851. Lincoln is a prominent attorney in Illinois. He's also a former one-term congressman. His extended family members are all farmers. If necessary, to procure a doctor or anything else for father in his present sickness. You have not failed to use my name, but he hasn't yet offered to come. My business is such that I could hardly leave home now. If it were not, as it is, that my own wife is sick abed. It is a case of baby sickness, he writes, and I suppose it is not dangerous. Mary Lincoln had just given birth to another one of the Lincoln boys, and she was herself ill. I sincerely hope, Lincoln writes, that father may yet recover his health. But at all events, tell him to remember to call upon and confide in our great and good and merciful Maker, who will not turn away from him in any extremity. He notes, meaning God, notes the fall of a sparrow and the numbers of hairs of our heads, and he will not forget the dying man who puts his trust in him. This statement about God is one that's hard to interpret. Either it's a powerful statement of belief and intended to offer some relief to the family, or perhaps some scholars think that it's almost a conventional response, not necessarily a cliche, but the kind of words you offer but don't really mean. And the reason why they're skeptical is because of what happens next in this document. Lincoln writes, and this is quite candid, say to him that if we could meet now, it is doubtful whether it would not be more painful than pleasant. It is doubtful whether it would not be more painful than pleasant. Now, what is he referring to? We don't know for sure. Clearly, there was a distance between them. Thomas Lincoln was a farmer. Lincoln wrote later he was raised to farm work. But that clearly wasn't what he wanted to be. He wanted to be something else. He read. And according to his stepbrother's recollections, when his father caught him reading when he was supposed to be doing chores around the farm, he would beat him. Now, we don't know for sure if those recollections are accurate, but we do know that Abraham Lincoln and his father were different in a number of ways. Thomas Lincoln wasn't an illiterate farmer, but Lincoln did make fun of the way he wrote his name. He did seem to diminish his father's accomplishments. Thomas Lincoln was also a carpenter, and for a period of time, a kind of respected figure in his community. You can over-exaggerate his backwoodsness. However, they were different. And this reference here in this letter to his stepbrother at this time is a clear indication of the tension that still existed between them, even as Abraham Lincoln was a an accomplished politician, lawyer, and family man himself. Lincoln ends by saying, "If it be his lot to go now, he will soon have a joyous meeting with many loved ones gone before, and where the rest of us, through the help of God, hope ere long to join them." And then he ends by saying, "Write me again when you receive this, affectionately, A. Lincoln." The letter raises as many questions as it offers answers. We don't know for sure about the dynamics within the Lincoln family, but it is a powerful thing to consider. Abraham Lincoln, who always extolled the fathers of the country, the Washingtons, the Jeffersons, the Franklins, seemed to have trouble with his own father. And it's a kind of interesting insight into the complicated nature of family dynamics.